This podcast includes content created using artificial intelligence tools. All information is for general purposes only and does not constitute financial, investment, legal, or regulatory advice. Listeners should verify information independently and consult qualified professionals for personalized guidance. Welcome to the Luxembourg Fundcast. Before we continue, we'd like to mention that the Luxembourg Fundcast is created and produced by Bertrand Mario, a practicing regulatory lawyer admitted to the Luxembourg and Paris bars. The mission of this podcast is to bring clear, free, and reliable information sourced from official references that are carefully curated and continually updated and refined through high-standard, evolving prompt engineering on Luxembourg's financial regulation and investment funds to professionals and anyone interested in the Luxembourg Financial Center. And a crucial piece of context for all of you joining us today. Our deep dive and analysis are based on information available as of right now, August 24th, 2025. Today, we're embarking on what I truly believe is a masterclass in Luxembourg corporate engineering. We're talking about a sophisticated architecture that combines dual-class shares with fiduciary depository receipts, or FDRs.
Right.
This isn't just some dry legal construct. It's a remarkably powerful structure.
It really is.
Designed to achieve two objectives that often seem, well, at odds.
That's the interesting part.
On one hand, ensuring stable, long-term strategic control for a company.
Crucial for many businesses.
And on the other, granting it seamless access to deep, liquid public capital markets.
It's a fascinating blend, mixing legal precision with pragmatic market access.
Absolutely.
Indeed. And what's particularly compelling about this topic, I think, is that it moves beyond mere theory.
Right. It's practical.
We're going to dive into a practical exploration of the daily mechanics, the intricate legal tightropes that companies must navigate,
Why?
and the strategic imperatives that corporate functions within these listed entities face every single day.
So for anyone involved in high-level corporate governance or capital markets here in Luxembourg,
Yes.
truly understanding this unique architecture isn't just beneficial.
No, it's absolutely crucial. It offers distinct advantages that are really worth examining closely.
It's truly a landscape of careful design, isn't it? Full of nuances.
Definitely.
And to help us navigate its intricacies, we've pinpointed three core insights from our sources that we believe every professional in this space needs to grasp.
Okay.
First, we see that the FDR is fundamentally a strategic governance instrument.
More than just trading.
Far more than a mere trading convenience, it's a highly sophisticated tool under Luxembourg law. It allows companies to maintain a controlled, stable register of direct shareholders.
Right, keeping that control.
While simultaneously offering public investors broad economic ownership and indirect voting rights. Effectively, it creates a managed strategic interface with the broader capital markets.
A managed interface, that's a good way to put it. Second, governance in this specific context is perpetual balancing act.
A balancing act.
Yes. The inherent nature of dual-class shares, by design, introduces a tension with the principle of equal shareholder treatment.
Which is the cornerstone of the Lux's X principles.
Exactly, the X principles of corporate governance. This isn't a challenge to be taken lightly. It necessitates meticulous legal compliance and, crucially, proactive, transparent communication.
So those are your primary tools for mitigating significant governance risks.
Absolutely. Communication and compliance.
And third, for all public investors holding FDRs, the depository agreement is nothing short of their constitution.
Their constitution, yes, that's vital.
For these holders, this document stands as the paramount legal framework. Its careful negotiation, its detailed clauses covering everything from dividends to voting and liability.
All the specifics.
And its diligent daily administration are what precisely define their rights and delineate their risks within the public market. It's the linchpin holding it all together.
Precisely. We'll unpack these critical points methodically throughout our deep dive today. First, we'll deconstruct the nuanced legal architecture that underpins this unique setup.
Okay, the legal foundations.
Then we'll transition into a practitioner's guide, detailing the daily management and operational realities.
The practical side.
Following that, we'll discuss the delicate governance tightrope that companies must walk.
The balancing act again.
We'll also delve into the art of the deal, the negotiation process, the associated costs, and the timelines involved in establishing such a program.
Right, the nitty-gritty of setting it up.
And finally, we'll look at the strategic imperatives and the future outlook, especially considering the most recent technological and regulatory developments as of today, August 24th, 2025.
Excellent. Let's begin our exploration then with the legal architecture, deconstructing the dual class and FDR framework.
Okay.
This intricate structure really starts at its foundation, the very act of creating different share classes under Luxembourg law. What exactly allows for this kind of, financial alchemy, as our sources aptly describe it?
What's truly fascinating here is the remarkably permissive and flexible nature of Luxembourg corporate law.
Permissive and flexible.
Which indeed provides the perfect canvas for this kind of financial engineering. The primary legal source for this is the venerable law of 10 August 1915 concerning commercial companies.
The 1915 law. A cornerstone.
A foundational piece of legislation, often referred to simply as the 1915 law. This law grants the essential flexibility needed for such sophisticated structures.
How so? Specifically?
Specifically, Article 430.01 of the 1915 law explicitly permits a Société Anonyme, or SA.
The SA, the public limited company form.
Exactly, the most common form here, to create different categories of shares. And, crucially, it allows the company's articles of association, its statutes,
The company's own rules.
to meticulously define the unique rights and obligations attached to each of these categories. This statutory flexibility is, without a doubt, the bedrock upon which the entire dual-class structure is meticulously built.
Setting Luxembourg apart, really.
It does. It sets Luxembourg apart from many other jurisdictions.
So unlike countries that might strictly adhere to a one share, one vote principle, Luxembourg deliberately offers companies the tools to differentiate.
That's right.
Why would a company consciously choose this dual class approach? Say, establishing Class A shares for the public and distinct Class B shares for strategic or founding shareholders.
Oh.
What's the core purpose?
Well, the purpose of adopting a dual-class structure is fundamentally and profoundly strategic.
Strategic. Yeah.
Its primary design is to ensure long-term control, effectively insulating a company from short-term market pressures, speculative trading, or even hostile takeover attempts.
Protection.
Consider a scenario where Class A shares offer full economic and voting rights, making them attractive to public investors seeking liquidity and a standard return.
Okay, the public shares.
Conversely, Class B shares may be held by founders, a family, or even a state entity.
The strategic holders.
Might be endowed with different, often enhanced voting rights, maybe 10 votes per share compared to one for Class A, or specific veto rights.
So that concentrates control.
Exactly. It concentrates control with those committed to the company's long-term vision, preserving strategy and culture, even while accessing public capital.
It's a mechanism to align long-term vision with, short-term market realities.
A powerful one, yes.
And in this context, the Articles of Association, the statutes, must take on an almost constitutional significance, far beyond mere admin.
Absolutely. Your analogy to a constitution is very apt. In this setup, the articles are elevated to a document of supreme, almost sacrosanct importance.
Not just a formality, then.
Far from it. They must precisely and unambiguously delineate every single right attached to each class of share.
Such as?
Voting power variations, dividend entitlements, liquidation preferences, transferability, limits, everything.
And ambiguity is dangerous.
Ambiguity is a critical flaw. It can become the breeding ground for legal challenges, disputes, and could undermine the entire control structure.
So for the corporate function.
For the corporate function, meticulous drafting and ongoing maintenance of these articles are core, non-negotiable responsibilities. They're the ultimate legal arbiter. Any misstep can have profound consequences.
Okay. So once these meticulously defined share classes are established, the next challenge is connecting to the public market, especially if the underlying shares aren't directly traded.
Right.
This is where the fiduciary depository receipts, the FDRs, become indispensable, correct?
Exactly. The FDR is that crucial, ingenious bridge.
Can you explain what an FDR actually is in practical terms?
Sure. In practical terms, an FDR is a negotiable bearer certificate.
Error, so easily transferable.
Yes. Ownership transfers easily without registration, and it's typically listed on a public exchange. It's issued by a Luxembourg-based depository bank, a highly regulated institution.
And what does it represent?
Each FDR represents a beneficial interest in one or more underlying shares. These shares aren't directly owned by the FDR holder,
Okay, not direct ownership.
but rather held on a fiduciary basis by that depository bank. It's a clever, indirect instrument allowing companies to tap market liquidity without their core shares being directly, perhaps uncontrollably, traded.
It sounds like there's some kind of legal magic at play, as our sources suggest, with this contract fiduciaire. What exactly is this unique fiduciary contract?
The contract fiduciaire.
And how does it so elegantly separate legal ownership from beneficial ownership?
The separation you're describing is indeed where the profound legal magic lies, and it's a hallmark of Luxembourg's legal ingenuity.
How does it work?
The contract fiduciaire, or fiduciary contract, is governed uniquely and robustly by the Luxembourg Grand Ducal Regulation of July 1983.
A specific regulation for it?
Yes. This instrument allows for a clean, legally robust, and internationally recognized separation of legal ownership from beneficial ownership.
Okay, break that down.
The depository bank holds the legal title to the underlying shares.
Legal owner.
However, and this is critical, it holds them purely as a trustee solely for the benefit of the FDR holders.
Who are the beneficial owners?
Precisely. They get the economic benefits.
How does this compare to other systems, say, common law?
Well, to truly appreciate this, consider how in many common law jurisdictions, achieving this clean separation often needs more complex trust structures or bespoke contract.
Potentially messier.
Potentially less transparent and harder to enforce across borders. Luxembourg's statutory framework, however, provides a streamlined, codified basis.
Making it efficient.
Remarkably efficient and predictable for companies managing large public investor bases while keeping direct control over their core share register.
So, for a corporate counsel.
Understanding this distinction means recognizing a powerful, almost unique tool offering both legal certainty and practical flexibility.
And this legal segregation is key.
Pivotal. It enables underlying shares to stay on the company's private, stable register, untraded publicly, while the FDRs, representing economic interest and pass-through rights, can be freely bought and sold on major exchanges like the Lux and Euronext Paris.
That's a powerful distinction. Legal sophistication meeting market pragmatism.
Exactly.
So this isn't just about making trading easier. It sounds like a deeply deliberate strategic choice.
Unquestionably.
How does this FDR structure specifically allow a company to maintain that stable, manageable share register while still tapping into global capital?
This is where the strategic brilliance truly shines. It is unequivocally a deliberate choice.
Okay.
The company maintains its official share register, the Registre des Actionnaires. But crucially, on that register, instead of listing thousands of global public investors,
Which would be complex.
Immensely, you primarily find only the direct strategic shareholders and the fiduciary as the single legal owner of a substantial block of shares.
So it simplifies things dramatically.
Dramatically. Administration of AGMs, direct shareholder communications, overall oversight, all streamlined.
The FDR structure acts as a buffer then.
A critical buffer and an administrative simplifier. It allows the company to control its direct interface with capital markets, preserving strategic control and efficiency,
While still getting the investment.
while simultaneously attracting significant public investment through the tradable FDRs. It's an optimal solution for balancing often conflicting objectives.
That brings us perfectly to the practitioner's guide. Documentation and daily management.
Right, the practicalities.
With such a complex structure, there must be one cornerstone document dictating everything.
Yeah.
What is this operational Bible, as it's called?
You've precisely identified it. The operational Bible, the absolute cornerstone, is the depository agreement.
The contract between the company and the fiduciary.
Exactly. Meticulously negotiated and drafted. It governs every single aspect of the FDR program, effectively becoming the definitive blueprint for its daily management.
Its importance can't be overstated.
Cannot be overstated. Its detailed clauses dictate precisely how the entire public-facing portion of the company's capital is managed day to day.
So for the corporate function company, secretary, legal, IR.
It defines their operational universe for dealing with public shareholders and ensuring the smooth functioning of the FDRs. It's not just legal, it's a living operational manual.
And within this operational Bible, what are some key clauses with significant daily implications? Let's start with depositing and withdrawing shares.
Okay, the clause on deposit and withdrawal of shares is foundational.
Why foundational?
It outlines the precise mechanics for depositing underlying Class A shares with the fiduciary, which creates new tradable FDRs.
And the reverse.
And conversely, it details the exact process for FDR holders to cancel their receipts and take delivery of the underlying registered shares.
That was a two-way street.
A two-way street that must be open, efficient, and well understood. This efficiency is vital for market liquidity.
Investors need confidence.
and for facilitating arbitrage opportunities, which helps keep the market fair by aligning FDR prices with underlying share value. Any friction undermines confidence.
Next up, distributions and dividends. This is where investors see the cash.
Absolutely.
How does the agreement manage this flow?
For distributions and dividends, the agreement is exceptionally explicit. It specifies the fiduciary's absolute obligation to receive cash dividends or other distributions from the company.
And then pass them on.
Mandates their timely and accurate distribution to the ultimate FDR holders, net of agreed fees and taxes.
Sounds simple, but probably complex in practice.
It requires incredibly seamless, robust flow of funds and information, from finance through corporate secretary for records and instructions, then precisely to the fiduciary.
And errors.
Any delay, miscalculation, or error can have immediate negative implications for investor sentiment, raising questions about reliability and admin capability.
Beyond regular dividends, there are corporate actions and rights issues. Bonus issues, splits, new share offers.
Yes.
More complex events.
How does the agreement specify the fiduciary's role here? What coordination is needed?
This is where detailed provisions on corporate actions and rights issues become paramount. They're complex, time-sensitive.
Right. The agreement details how the fiduciary manages these to ensure FDR holders are treated equitably. Typically, the fiduciary makes rights or securities available.
For holders to participate.
Yes, allowing them to subscribe or participate. However, if participation is impractical, maybe due to regulatory issues in some jurisdictions,
What happens then?
the agreement will stipulate the fiduciary should sell the rights or securities on the market and distribute the net proceeds.
That sounds like it needs tight coordination.
Extremely close, precise, proactive coordination between the company's corporate function and the fiduciary's corporate actions team. Any misstep, missed deadline, communication breakdown
Leads to problems.
could disenfranchise public investors.
Yeah.
Significant reputational damage, potential legal challenges, regulatory scrutiny. It's high stakes.
Now, voting rights. Always sensitive, especially with dual-class structures.
Very sensitive.
How does the agreement address this so FDR holders can still exercise influence, albeit indirectly?
The voting rights clause is, without doubt, one of the most critical governance provisions. It directly addresses market expectations.
Ow.
It stipulates the fiduciary must meticulously notify FDR holders of general meetings and, vitally, provide a clear, unambiguous, accessible mechanism for them to issue voting instructions.
A robust
But
mechanism.
robust enough for diverse global investors. The fiduciary is then legally bound to vote the underlying shares strictly per the aggregate instructions received.
Not discretionary.
Not discretionary at all. The corporate function must meticulously oversee this entire process: robustness, transparency, strict compliance with AGM deadlines. It ensures indirect but effective participation.
Moving to liability and indemnification. Crucial for risk management.
Absolutely.
What are the typical arrangements and what are their financial implications?
The liability and indemnification clause is consistently one of the most heavily negotiated sections. It allocates risk.
How?
It typically defines the fiduciary's liability scope, usually limited to its own gross negligence or willful misconduct, standard protection for the fiduciary.
And the company side.
Conversely, the fiduciary is usually indemnified by the company for actions taken in good faith, especially based on company instructions.
The nuances matter.
The specific nuances, liability caps, carve-outs, have very significant financial implications. It's crucial for risk management, determining who bears the cost if things go wrong. A finely tuned agreement is vital.
And, of course, costs. What about fees and expenses? How are they structured?
The fees and expenses clause details the entire fee structure. Typically includes annual admin fees, transaction fees for issuance cancellation, charges for dividends, corporate actions.
Not insignificant costs.
Not insignificant. They must be meticulously factored into the company's budget over the program's life.
Are costs passed to holders?
It's worth noting a portion, particularly transaction fees or pass-through expenses, are often passed on, in various forms, to FDR holders, impacting their return. Transparency here is key.
Disclosure is important then.
Clear disclosure in the prospectus and depositary agreements, so investors understand the cost implications of holding FDRs.
So you have the company's private share register with direct holders and the fiduciary,
Right, controlled.
and then the multitude of FDR holders identified indirectly through clearing systems like Clearstream or Euroclear.
Dynamic, complex.
How does a corporate function manage these two distinct universes daily? Sounds like an operational tightrope.
The dichotomy you describe is indeed a central operational challenge. Much of the daily admin effort is focused here.
Okay.
The company maintains its official, legally definitive Registre des Actionnaires for registered Class A and B shares. Static, controlled.
And the FDRs.
In stark contrast, the FDRs, typically in a single global certificate, are cleared and settled through highly dynamic systems like Clearstream or Euroclear.
Which identify the beneficial owners.
Through their network of participant banks and brokers, yes, the end investors. This creates a significant operational challenge, information flow, and reconciling legal form with economic reality.
Right, because the company only officially knows the fiduciary.
Yeah.
So how does critical communication, AGM notices, annual reports, corporate action instructions, reliably reach the ultimate beneficial owners, the FDR holders?
The company can't communicate directly. It must follow a multi-step cascade, a complex logistical chain.
How does it cascade?
First from the company to the fiduciary, then from the fiduciary to the direct participants in the clearing systems, custodian banks, major brokers.
And then finally to the investor.
Finally, those participant brokers relay the info down to their individual clients, the end investors. A simple mailing becomes an intricate exercise across intermediaries, regulations, systems.
Imagine coordinating a vote across thousands of investors globally.
Exactly, in dozens of countries, each with their own custodian banks. Complex.
And this complex chain sounds prone to breakdowns, leading to legal and reputational risks.
Absolutely.
What specific daily tasks and processes are essential for the corporate function to manage this? What if the chain fails?
It absolutely is prone to breakdown. A key daily task is meticulously managing and monitoring this information chain, establishing incredibly robust processes, clear protocols with the fiduciary, regular stress testing, ensuring critical info reaches end investors timely, accurately, compliantly.
Using what tools?
Maybe automated alerts, regular reconciliation reports, dedicated communication lines with the fiduciary's ops teams.
And failure.
Any breakdown, delayed notice, miscommunication on corporate actions, voting errors poses significant legal and reputational risk. Erodes confidence, leads to complaints, lawsuits, regulatory scrutiny, fines, underscores the importance of every detail.
That brings us perfectly to the governance tightrope, reconciling structure with shareholder equality.
The balancing act.
You've described how this dual-class structure inherently creates unequal rights. Yet the market, particularly here, emphasizes shareholder equality. Where does this tension originate?
The tension is inherent and can be stark. The core principle is Principle 10 of the Luxembourg X Principles of Corporate Governance.
The guidelines.
Yes. It unequivocally states, the company shall respect the rights of its shareholders and shall ensure that they receive equal treatment.
But the structure doesn't treat them equally.
Contrast that with a dual-class structure explicitly designed for unequal voting rights, concentrating power. Plus, FDR holders don't have a direct right to attend general meetings.
That's reserved for registered shareholders.
Including the fiduciary and strategic investors. This creates fundamental governance tension, reconciling a legal structure for control with market expectations of fairness, a challenging balance.
So, simply asserting legal validity isn't enough to satisfy the spirit of the X principles.
Not at all.
What's the corporate functions mandate then? How do they navigate this to maintain confidence?
You've hit the crux. Pointing to legal validity is insufficient for good governance. The mandate is to actively, continuously demonstrate a profound, tangible commitment to fairness, transparency, robust investor protection.
Going beyond legal compliance.
Far beyond, to satisfy the spirit. For instance, legally denying FDR holders AGM attendance, but ensuring an exceptionally robust, clear proxy voting mechanism to satisfy the spirit.
It's essential for market confidence.
Absolutely essential for maintaining investor confidence, fostering a positive relationship with the Luxie, ensuring a stable, liquid market. It's proactive engagement, demonstrating ethical governance.
And the CSSF, Luxembourg's regulator, plays a critical role in transparency.
A critical regulatory overlay.
How does their oversight, particularly Circular 08349, interact with FDRs for transparency, especially beneficial ownership?
What's fascinating and important is how the Commission de Surveillance du Secteur Financier, the CSSF, handles this. According to CSSF Circular 08349, for transparency law purposes, they adopt a look-through approach.
Look-through.
Meaning the CSSF effectively looks through the fiduciary holding legal title straight to the ultimate beneficial owner of the FDRs.
Why is that crucial?
Because notification requirements for crossing major shareholding thresholds, 5%, 10%, etc., apply directly to the ultimate FDR holders, even though they aren't on the company's register.
So it ensures disclosure of significant economic interest.
Exactly. It closes a potential anonymity loophole.
This look-through is critical then. It shifts the transparency burden to the company, despite not knowing the holders directly.
It creates a substantial ongoing responsibility.
What does this mean daily? What systems must be in place to avoid breaching transparency law?
They must work exceptionally closely with compliance and IR teams to rigorously monitor FDR trading activity. Active engagement, not passive.
Robust systems needed.
Robust, almost infallible systems to ensure threshold crossing notifications from investors are received promptly, ideally directly or via clearing systems.
And then disclosed.
Then accurately, promptly disclosed to the market through official channels. Failure isn't a minor lapse, it's a direct breach of transparency law.
With significant consequences.
Significant regulatory consequences, substantial fines, severe reputational damage, undermining market confidence. Stakes are incredibly high. Proactive, diligent monitoring is essential.
Given these tensions and the regulatory environment, what practical, proactive strategies can corporate functions use to demonstrate fair treatment, especially for FDR holders? Let's start with enhanced disclosure.
Okay, enhanced disclosure is paramount, going beyond boilerplate.
How so?
The annual report, especially the corporate governance statement, must provide a crystal clear, plain language explanation of the dual class structure.
Detailing the FDRs.
Explicitly describing FDR functioning, how they convey autonomous indirect voting rights, the exact voting mechanism, anticipate investor questions, answer proactively.
Demonstrating commitment.
Demonstrating unwavering commitment to transparency, bridging the information gap, mitigating perceptions of unequal access. Some firms add dedicated FAQs for FDR holders online.
Transparency is key. But what about the actual voting? How ensure the voting process is robust, efficient, fair for FDR holders?
A robust voting process is non-negotiable, needs meticulous attention. The procedure for collecting instructions must be demonstrably efficient, exceptionally well communicated,
Across all channels.
and structured, allowing ample time for a diverse global investor base across time zones to respond.
Right.
Maybe use e-voting platforms, clear instructions via clearing systems.
And verifying execution.
The corporate function must work in lockstep with the fiduciary, maybe independent proxy agents, to rigorously audit and ensure integrity, confirming every instruction is faithfully executed and accurately reflected in the fiduciary's vote. Vital for trust.
And beyond formal processes, what about active communication, especially with institutional investors and proxy advisors?
Active communication is absolutely essential and proactive. Consistent, open engagement with institutions and influential proxy advisors.
Not defensively.
No, clearly explaining the strategic rationale, the why, and proactively addressing governance concerns, especially perceived inequalities.
Fulfilling X principles.
It's a core component of the active communication policy required by Principle 10. Engaging proactively manages perceptions, explains the long-term vision, maintains vital long-term investor relations, builds bridges.
That brings us to the art of the deal: negotiation, costs, and timelines. Implementing an FDR program sounds like a massive undertaking.
It is complex, yes.
Let's talk negotiating that critical depository agreement. What are the paramount points a company should focus on during this crucial phase?
The negotiation is indeed critical, demanding astute legal, commercial, operational acumen. The company is essentially outsourcing a core part of its shareholder interface.
So, key points.
Firstly, precisely defining the scope of fiduciary duty. Clarifies in black and white responsibilities of the fiduciary versus the company. Avoids ambiguity, gaps, overlaps, disputes.
Like who handles filings.
Exactly. Explicitly outlining who handles specific regulatory filings or investor queries prevents future friction.
And ensuring the fiduciary delivers. How are service level agreements, SLAs, used?
That's where robust SLAs come in. Crucial. They establish clear, measurable, enforceable timelines and standards for key processes.
Specific metrics.
Think 99.9% accuracy for dividend payments, notifications within 24 hours, processing votes by a deadline. Robust SLAs ensure quantifiable performance, accountability, recourse if standards aren't met. Provides operational assurance.
When things go wrong, liability and indemnity become major concerns. How do companies protect themselves?
Liability and indemnity clauses are, as you'd imagine, heavily scrutinized. It's about carefully defining the fiduciary's financial liability cap, typically limited to gross negligence or willful misconduct.
Standard protection for them.
Yes. Equally important, the scope of the company's indemnification obligations to the fiduciary must be meticulously defined, typically covering good faith actions based on company instructions.
Crucial for risk management.
Absolutely. Determining who bears the financial brunt under unforeseen circumstances. Nuances have significant financial implications, need careful legal input.
And finally, the fee structure. Transparency and predictability must be important.
Absolutely. The fee structure must be transparent, competitive, and crucially predictable for the company and any costs passed to FDR holders.
Clarity is needed on all fees.
Ensuring clarity on annual admin fees, transaction fees, dividend fees, other service charges is essential for long-term cost control and budget predictability. Avoid surprises, keeps the program viable. Detailed breakdown expected.
Okay, so establishing an FDR program is a substantial investment. Need to consider initial setup and ongoing annual costs.
Definitely.
Can you break down what those initial setup costs typically entail?
The initial setup costs can be substantial, reflecting complexity and rigor, significant legal and advisory fees for structuring tax, corporate regulatory clearance, plus drafting the prospectus and depository agreement.
And regulatory fees.
Considerable regulatory fees. CSSF prospectus approval fee for shares, roughly 25,000 euros up to 220,000 euros, depending on complexity.
Plus listing fees.
Plus initial listing fees charged by the Luxembourg for admission to trading, all critical upfront investments for a solid foundation.
And once it's running, what are the ongoing annual costs to budget for each year?
Ongoing annual costs are recurring, needing continuous planning. Annual maintenance fees to Luxie, several thousand euros per quotation line for depository receipts.
And CSSF fees.
Annual fees to CSSF for regulated market issuers can be substantial. Base fee of 30,000 euros plus a variable component linked to market cap, reflecting ongoing oversight.
And fiduciary fees.
And, of course, the fiduciary's own fees, annual admin, transaction charges, other service charges as per the negotiated agreement. A continuous financial commitment to maintain integrity, compliance, market presence.
It sounds like a significant project. What's a realistic?
Crucially, conducting a thorough tender process to select the fiduciary depository bank a central relationship. Concurrently, finalizing fundamental structural details, FDR characteristics, benefits aligned with company strategy. Core design decisions.
Then phase 2, documentation. Sounds like the heaviest lift.
Indeed, phase 2 documentation is typically most intensive, often 2 to 3 months. Parallel drafting of 2 pivotal documents. The listing prospectus, meeting stringent regulatory disclosure rules, and negotiating finalizing the depository agreement, the operational blueprint.
Requires meticulous attention.
Meticulous detail, numerous reviews, legal input, constant coordination between company, advisors, fiduciary. Inconsistencies cause delays.
Then phase 3, regulatory approval. Engaging with CSSF and Lexus. How long?
Phase 3, regulatory approval, generally 1 to 2 months, depending on submission, completeness, and complexity. Prospectus formally submitted to CSSF for rigorous review and approval, checking compliance.
And the exchange.
Simultaneously, listing application to Luxie. Their decision typically 1 month after a complete file, assuming all docs meet admission requirements. Queries can extend this.
Finally, the big moment. Phase 4, launch and admission. Bringing FDRs to market.
Phase 4, launch and admission, the final culmination, usually 2 to 4 weeks. Once approvals are secured, meticulously coordinating with the fiduciary to open the deposit window for underlying shares.
Company deposits shares.
Yes. Then the single global FDR certificate is issued, deposited with clearing systems like Clearstream Euroclear, managing book entry ownership.
And then trading begins.
Final step, official go live with admission to trading on the exchange, successful launch, unlocking access to global capital. Significant achievement.
So we've dissected the legal foundation's operational demands, costs, timelines. But why undertake all this? What are the unique selling points, the strategic imperatives driving this structure?
The primary USP, the overriding imperative, is stabilization of long-term strategy coupled with access to deep capital.
Who chooses this?
Typically companies in capital-intensive, long-cycle industries, infrastructure, satellite comms, biotech, where short-term market swings can derail long-term R&D or investment.
Also foundational ownership.
Also favored by entities with significant foundational ownership, family businesses preserving legacy, or substantial state ownership reflecting national interests.
So it insulates them.
Maintaining control, insulating from short-term pressures, activists, hostile takeovers is paramount. allows management board to focus squarely on long-term, innovative, high-risk goals without being swayed by quarterly results.
So in this context, the FDR isn't just a technical add-on, it's indispensable to the strategy.
Precisely. The FDR mechanism is the indispensable key. It allows access to deep global capital pools for ambitious projects.
Without compromising control.
Without ever compromising the core control structure. It's an optimal solution, balancing control and capital access, a testament to Luxembourg's flexible, sophisticated framework, powerful tool for enduring stability.
That brings us to our final segment. Recent and upcoming developments as of August 24th, 2025. Things evolve fast. What should a forward-looking corporate function track regarding the digital frontier for share management?
What's fascinating is the rapid pace of regulatory innovation. Late 2024, Luxembourg enacted the blockchain FAV law.
Significant legislation.
Significant forward thinking. Further facilitates using distributed ledger technology, DLT, for issuing, transferring dematerialized securities.
How does that impact FDRs?
The current FDR system relies on traditional clearinghouses, global certificates. This new law opens a direct path for innovation.
Like tokenization.
A strategic corporate function should now actively explore tokenizing FDRs or creating a DLT-based register. Could dramatically increase efficiency, reduce intermediary need, cut costs.
Faster settlement?
Near instantaneous settlement, unprecedented transparency issuer to investor. Potentially solves complex information flow challenges, profound implications for speed, cost, auditability.
A significant shift,
Right.
pointing toward broader digitalization in corporate law.
The trend is undeniable, multifaceted. The law of 17 February 2025, transposing the EU Mobility Directive, modernized cross-border reorganization rules, emphasizing digital tools.
Signal of a broader trend.
While not directly about FDRs, its spirit signals a sustained regulatory legislative push towards comprehensive digitalization, reinforces the need for corporate functions to be deeply digitally proficient.
Anticipating digital AGMs.
Anticipating impact of digital AGMs, online voting, electronic corporate actions on FDR program admin, and fiduciary interaction. Continuous digital evolution. Adaptation isn't optional. Needs investment in digital infrastructure, training.
And finally, reshaping regulatory oversight. The rise of AI-powered supervision. How is CSSF integrating AI?
A truly significant transformative development. CSSF began integrating AI into supervisory processes, pilots rolling out early 2025.
Meaning?
Signals a fundamental shift towards more data-driven, proactive, predictive supervision. Corporate functions must anticipate regulators having dramatically enhanced capabilities
To analyze data.
analyze vast trading data, disclosures, communications with unprecedented speed, precision, depth, looking for anomalies, manipulation patterns, subtle signs of poor governance.
Raising the bar.
Fundamentally raises the bar for accuracy, consistency, transparency in all public disclosures related to complex capital structures. Demands proactive, data-literate approach from governance compliance. AI will spot inconsistencies humans might miss. Meticulous records, controls more critical than ever.
As we conclude, let's revisit our three core takeaways. First, remember the FDR is a strategic governance instrument. A deliberate, powerful choice to manage the company's relationship with public markets, preserving register integrity while enabling liquidity.
Second, always keep in mind governance in this context is a perpetual balancing act. The corporate function must continuously deftly navigate the tension between a control structure and market expectations of equal treatment. Transparency, proactive communication, robust processes are the guide.
And third, for all public investors, the depositary agreement is nothing less than their constitution. The operational linchpin defining rights and risks, its meticulous negotiation, precise terms, diligent daily administration are core, non-negotiable responsibilities underpinning market confidence.
And as a final thought for reflection, as technological advancements and regulatory digitization accelerate, how might the traditional separation of legal and beneficial ownership, so elegantly managed by the FDR structure, evolve further? To offer even greater efficiency and transparency while still preserving the critical strategic control it was designed for.
Interesting question.
What new legal or technological innovations might we see emerge to bridge this gap even more seamlessly in the coming years? Potentially redefining public ownership and corporate control in financial centers like Luxembourg. It's a question that will undoubtedly shape the future of capital markets.
This podcast is a collaborative and free resource that improves continually, so your comments or requests for new topics are highly welcome, especially on YouTube. We want to be a helpful strength for everyone working in the Luxembourg Financial Center at all levels. We are often asked how you can help us. Well, a great way to help is by subscribing to our shows on all major podcast platforms, including Spotify, as well as on Apple Podcasts, where a 5-star rating would really help us. You can also like our videos and subscribe to our Rigor Media YouTube channel. All relevant links will be available in the show notes. For our French-speaking listeners, you can also find our sister podcast in French. It was the Luxembourg Fundcast for you today. This podcast includes content created using artificial intelligence tools. All information is for general purposes only and does not constitute financial, investment, legal, or regulatory advice. Listeners should verify information independently and consult qualified professionals for personalized guidance.